I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like, oh!
I saw that. I saw you stand up. That's the first time I see
it. Was just, what?
Unexpected him the last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3.
I'm a little up. But will you take care of me forever and ever?
When Anthony Joshua finally landed the crushing 6th-round knockout that ended Jake Paul's bid in their highly anticipated heavyweight showdown, Joe Rogan's live reaction perfectly captured the moment's seismic impact on combat sports. Rogan, who had openly warned about Joshua's one-punch power and the danger Paul was stepping into, didn't hold back as the decisive blow landed, immediately framing it not just as a fight-ending knockout, but as a moment that could go down as one of the most brutal and memorable knockouts in boxing history.
Come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided...
The bout, officially billed as Judgment Day, was contested over scheduled 8 3-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, with Joshua entering as the clear favorite due to his elite experience and size advantage. Standing at 6 feet 6 inches and weighing around 243 pounds, Joshua outweighed Paul, who came in at approximately 216 pounds. After several tentative early rounds, Joshua began to take control, knocking Paul down multiple times in the 5th before finishing the fight with a devastating 6th-round knockout at 131, landing a crushing right hand that sent Paul to the canvas and forced the referee to stop the bout.
Anthony Joshua. Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career to...
Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul was one of the most talked about fights of the year, partly because of the personalities involved, but also because it brought into stark relief the clash between traditional heavyweight boxing and the social media-driven influencer era.
Performance by Jake, brother. Come on, bro. He's a fucking legend for that. He has such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Josh was a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome. I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua, one of the best in the world, so I got nothing but respect.
And got up like 2 times?
No, it was sick.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
Nagano, so many people, bro. The overhand right. Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are going to say he ran around the ring. They don't know. They don't understand fucking boxing.
He showed a ton of heart, right? What's next for Jake Paul? Where does he go?
Joshua, the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion, entered as a massive favorite. Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer, had used his platform to build a big audience for boxing despite criticism from purists about his credentials. Yet, few truly believed he stood a realistic chance against elite heavyweight power.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight. Even Rosendo, my boxing coach, I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City. And I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you got to give credit.
After the fight, Anthony Joshua was honest and reflective about his performance, saying that while he got the job done with a 6th-round knockout, he didn't feel it was his best showing and believed he could have done much better. Joshua admitted he needed to improve, explaining that he struggled early to land clean shots and couldn't corner Jake Paul as quickly as many had expected, calling it a win, but not a success, and emphasizing that he still has a lot of work ahead of him.
Better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or you're gonna...
Despite the knockout, Joshua made a point of acknowledging Jake Paul's heart and resilience in the ring, saying that even though he ultimately secured the 6th-round knockout, Paul showed real spirit by repeatedly getting back up after being dropped and continuing to compete against a far more experienced former world champion. Joshua noted that not many fighters would have stepped up to face someone of his caliber, and that Paul's willingness to keep trying, even in tough moments, deserved respect.
AJ's won 6 rounds, he kind of dismantled him, he took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean, I know
he broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know, it knocked him out,
Knocked
but he
his
was
teeth
not
out.
unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from it. If he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back from.
Well, there's pictures of him in hospital right now.
Well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't... I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual work.
Is that how you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got something to go back on.
Paul suffered a broken jaw during his 6th-round knockout loss. After Joshua landed the powerful right hand that ended the fight, Paul, bloodied in the mouth, said during the post-fight interview that he thought his jaw was broken, and that turned out to be true.
Logan, what's up, man? What's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has it.
Your brother fought his ass off, man.
Yeah,
I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took 1.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, obviously, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one
Bro, I
point.
was trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying fuck that shit. I love AJ. But bro,
I saw you going on the fight game.
I was talking so much. But I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw.
Jake leaned into his signature bravado with a defiant post, sharing a screenshot of his x-ray showing a double broken jaw. Paul wrote, "Double broken jaw. Give me Canelo in 10 days." Medical scans and x-rays confirmed that his jaw was fractured in 2 places, often referred to as a double broken jaw. He later revealed that he drove himself to the hospital after the fight for treatment. Recovery time for the injury was estimated to be around 4 to 6 weeks, and Paul posted images and updates on social media confirming the fractures and thanking fans for their support.
Nikki's just down here, Jackford from the Sun. Just to follow up on Jake, he said he broke his jaw in the aftermath. Has he gone to hospital? What's the health update on Jake?
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA. And I think the recovery time from the doctors and surgeons we've already talked to is 4.
Nikki Sabadarian praised Paul's heart, durability, and game plan, noting that Jake had done tremendously well against one of the most feared punchers in heavyweight boxing, and that he may have even won a few rounds early in the fight. However, he emphasized that the real reason for Paul's loss wasn't a lack of boxing ability, but the significant size and weight difference between the two men. Joshua's heavier frame and strength consistently sapped Paul's energy, allowing the former champion to land forceful shots that ultimately led to the knockout. Badarian explained that Joshua's physical dominance played a major role in wearing Paul down, underscoring that Paul's performance still deserved respect despite the defeat.
That's what happened. And ultimately, Jake Paul lasted a lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has. But I think he might have won a round or two or even three. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's going to fight next. You know, we talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, what do you think? She goes, Jake's going to win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do. That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money. But we want to put on the best brand for these fighters to show the world.
Some fighters acknowledged Jake Paul's resilience for stepping into the ring with a former heavyweight champion and lasting until the 6th round, especially given the size and experience gap. They highlighted that Paul showed heart and determination, even if he ultimately lost by knockout. Eddie Hearn also acknowledged Paul's effort, but in a more measured tone, noting that while Paul showed toughness, the outcome was never truly in doubt. Hearn pointed out that no one realistically expected Paul to last long against a fighter of Anthony Joshua's caliber, and that surviving into the 6th round was more about durability than technical skill. He implied that Paul's performance highlighted the gap between social media crossover fighters and elite professionals, emphasizing that while lasting multiple rounds was notable, it didn't change the fact that Joshua's experience and power dominated the fight.
First 2 or 3 rounds, a little bit frustrating because you've been out of the ring for a year and a half, and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring, and you know you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like, yeah, listen, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, you know, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, you know, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. But we're friends now, so respect to him.
And your message for
Fury, listen, we'll see you.
After the fight, Ryan Garcia weighed in on social media with a blunt and provocative reaction that caught significant attention within the boxing world. Garcia tweeted that while he respected Paul's effort, he also made a sharp comparison involving Gervonta Davis, another high-profile boxer. In his tweet, Garcia wrote, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse," suggesting that Davis would have hit Paul harder or ended the fight even more decisively than Joshua did. Many experts agreed with Garcia, reinforcing the belief that this was not elite boxing. Even after the fight, criticism of the matchup continued, with some observers arguing that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul bout should never have happened in the first place.
Fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, you know, cannot get out of its way anyway?
Critics point out that the size, experience, and skill gap between a former heavyweight world champion and a social media influencer turned boxer was too extreme, making the fight more of a spectacle than a legitimate sporting contest. Many argue that putting Paul in the ring against someone with Olympic pedigree and true heavyweight power posed serious safety risks, as evidenced by his broken jaw and multiple knockdowns.
Anthony Joshua being taken 6 rounds by Jake Paul. We're in the aftermath here. The press conference is going on behind us. We're yet to see Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua out here. Ak, you were ringside, you were around the whole fight. People are complaining that Anthony Joshua may have embarrassed himself in there tonight, letting Jake take him 6 rounds.
It's ridiculous. Anybody that saying that doesn't know anything about boxing. First off, if you see how Jake was moving and clinching the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, you would understand. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If a fighter in front of you is destined to not get hit and not get knocked out, it's almost impossible to knock that guy out. When Jake was okay with exchanging and trying, even he was exhausted, he said, I'm going to try, that's when AJ was there to land the shots. AJ did what he's supposed to do. Not easy to knock a guy out that's surviving, you know that.
Yeah, I do. I wondered early on whether he didn't have a lot of adrenaline and he was walking Jake down. Jake was making himself small and moving away. And AJ said, you know what, I'm going to take my time here and marinate you.
Exactly. Listen, when a guy that's moving like Jake, that's inexperienced, you're going to gas out. I knew it for after half the first round. If Jake keeps moving like that, he's going to gas out in 2-3 rounds. And I noticed that AJ said, okay, I'm going to let him run around, right? People are screaming, cut the ring off. Let me let him run around and gas out. Once he gassed out, what happened?
Experts contend that such crossover events undermine the integrity of professional boxing, favoring entertainment and pay-per-view revenue over meaningful competition, and that the bout primarily served hype rather than athletic merit.
The bigger picture, you and I are boxing guys, we go to boxing all the time. The question we perhaps need to ask is, did that entertain the fans tonight? Should we be seeing that again? Is that it now? We've seen that novelty. Should a fight like that between an Olympic champion, a heavyweight world champion, against a relative novice, should that be sanctioned and licensed by a commission? You know, it was a one-off. Jake's a one-off, but we shouldn't be seeing a lot of these events, in my view.
Never again. We should never have that gap of experience.
The mismatch.
Skill set should never happen again. I mean, to your point, Jake is an anomaly, right? Like, we can let him get that off. He tried it, and he even landed a couple of shots, but you saw at first, I mean, as soon as he landed the first right hand, even he saw, I can't hurt this guy. I'm not going to.
It was a pebble hitting a tank, is how I've described it.
Great description. So I think it's, in some sense, we needed to have this in order for it not to happen again. To get it out of our system.
Right.
In order for it not to happen again. And look, let's not ignore that there were other fighters on the card who were watched, who were seen from places all around the world. So it served its purpose, and kudos to Netflix for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Baumgardner was very good. Alicia Baumgardner defending her belts. Caroline Dubois was very good. She signaled herself to the American market, as you mentioned. So at least they benefit from it as well tonight, which will continue to happen with MVP and Netflix.
And that's what Jake and Nikisa, that's their agenda, right? Of course, it's Jake, but Jake has all of that in mind. Who can I showcase on this event? He did it for Amanda Serrano. She's made millions. He's starting to look, Dubois, she looked great. I want to see her again. Me personally, I became a fan of her.
What do you think? Was this fight a legitimate test of skill, or just a spectacle that should never have happened? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.